Like I said, pressure on it. I
I'm only going to be on stage for 37 seconds. I was told to come here and move chairs around, which I have done, so thank you for being here. I am just here to remind everybody to be kind. Everybody coming up here on stage tonight, they are perfecting their craft, as we all are on this journey that we call life. So be kind in all of your actions, comments. Hecklers can go outside and we can have a conversation tomorrow at 10 a.m. when I'm not here. I am now just here to introduce the one who is hosting this evening, the teacher, the wonderful, the fantastic. Before I do that, I don't want to forget about concessions. If you want any, go get them. Mr. Carl Wolfson!
Thank you, Ryan, very much. I've never had an introduction where try the concessions was part of it, but thank you. Have a hand for all our performers you're going to see tonight. Make them welcome. My pleasure to have taught them. They've taught me a lot along this journey, and I appreciate your support for them tonight. I do have to tell you, though, you're here under false pretenses. It's not going to be a comedy show tonight. You all are the jury pool for the Trump trial. So, we're guilty. Okay, good. We dispense with that. That's actually how I get out of jury duty in Portland. I have never been called. I walk in and I go, Lars Larson is guilty, and they escort me right out. It's good. I have to play places, though, and this is my 43rd year of comedy. Played in about 450 cities in the country, and there are places that are Trump country, believe it or not. Richland, Washington, there's one. Oh, God. I was doing my dog and cat material in Richland. Woman in the backyard thought she had a lab. I said, what kind? She said, meth. And, but I let the Trump thing work for me. I think I was there in 2016, had breakfast at a diner. It was a nice breakfast, and the waitress had in a big Trump Make America Great button, and that's fine, you know. So she gives me the breakfast, and then she comes with a bill, and I handed her back the bill and said, Mexico will pay for it. So it worked out great. See, I wonder now that he's indicted, will he be tried as an adult? I think that's the question. That's really the question. There are places worse than Richland. Anyone from the Deep South here? I mean, Deep South. You know, last week someone said Ashland. I don't think that was the right answer. I was in Pamplona, Alabama for the running of the Rednecks, and I was gored by their sharp intellect, I have to tell you. You know, speaking of I go to Texas occasionally, and I was thinking that the person that really benefited from Trump being president was George W. Bush, because now he doesn't look like shit anymore, right? You remember Bush, how quaint it was? He used to talk to us like we were in the 3rd grade. It's like, the hurricane is in the water. When the hurricane hits the land, there will be an emergency on the land. People say to me, when will the hurricane hit the land? When will it make land fall? Well, I'm the decider. I decide. It's so quaint now, isn't it? I did that joke in Dallas. Some guy came up to me irate after the show. He said, you should listen to President Bush like he listens to the country. So I did. I tapped his phone without a court order. It was very funny. Now we got DeSantis coming up. Why did they just get meaner and meaner, don't they? It's unbelievable. He flew 48 migrants to Martha's Vineyard. Democrats have retaliated, though. I have to give it to Democrats. A plane just landed in Florida with 48 of Herschel Walker's children. So he wants to ban books. I got an idea. How about reading them? That would be nice, wouldn't it? Thank you. All right. So the last thing I'll say before I start the show, I just wish we could be a little more, have a little more humor and civility in our politics, right? Especially humor. That's what we need, you know? And I know the 50s weren't good for a lot of reasons, but politicians were a lot funnier back then and had a better time. There was more civility. One of my favorites was Margaret Chase Smith, Republican of Maine, one of the first women senators, and she had a great sense of humor. They asked her one day, she was often mentioned as a possible first woman president. Reporter said to her one day, said, "Senator Smith, what would you do if you woke up and found yourself in the White House?" She said, "I would get dressed, run downstairs, apologize to Mrs. Eisenhower, and leave." So that's what we need. You guys ready for the show tonight? I'm gonna host it with pride. I love my students. They work really hard, and very happy to introduce our lead-off comic tonight. She's wonderful. She has done 2 classes with me. I adore her. Please welcome Maytal Markman. Bring her up. Maytal!
Thank you. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Ryan. Is this being filmed, by the way? Or is it not because Patrick's not here?
It is being streamed.
Okay. Cool. What is up, Portland? Welcome and thank you for coming out on a rainy night. My name is Maytal, and I am not from around here. I grew up in the Bronx. And thank you. Yeah. What? There's some New Yorkers in the house? All right, you're gonna like this. I grew up in the Bronx, and I really did intend to more or less stay in New York for my whole life. There was no big plan to move out west like some folks have. In fact, I didn't really know much about the West Coast when I was growing up. My reference points on geography were limited to just the essentials that are handed out to New Yorkers, which include the train station by your building, the train station by your school, and Florida. So surprise, surprise, here I am in Portland, Oregon. I actually moved up to Vancouver, Washington a couple years ago. And bigger surprise, surprise, I seem to have found myself living in the New Jersey of Portland. This was not planned. It does take some getting used to, and I'm not talking about just Vancouver, I'm really talking about the greater Portland metro area. It takes some getting used to. For example, there are different customs here when it comes to talking to strangers in public, and I'm sure that most people who transplant into Portland have a very similar experience to this. You've gone grocery shopping at New Seasons, you're at the checkout, and suddenly the person checking you out says to you, "How's your day going so far?" Very perky. And I was jarred at first, but I jumped on the bandwagon. I belong here, and so now I can turn it on. Great! How's your day going so far? I'm super happy to hear about it. You know, here in Portland, we don't want to offend anybody. We don't want anybody to think that their behavior is maybe unexpected. Gonna hurt their feelings. But it's hard for me sometimes to be a part of that. Recently, I was at a theater. I just want to make sure everyone heard that. This was a theater. And I got to my seat, and the seat next to me was already occupied by a woman who had put her cup in the cup holder that we shared, which is fine. That's fine. She got there first. Then she turned to me and she started talking to me, which I was prepared for, because I've been here. Because I've been here for 6 years. And she wanted to inform me that her beverage was in fact a hot beverage, which I did not need to know, but fine. I was like, okay, like that's nice. You know, it was like super chill, acting like that was a normal piece of information to share with a stranger. But then she reached into her backpack and pulled out a battery-powered electric milk frother and started frothing her hot beverage. And I had to continue to pretend that this was normal. I think I did okay. But 6 years in and I'm still learning new things. Another thing that takes some getting used to is the trigger warnings. We care very deeply about everybody's feelings, and we absolutely do not want anybody to be faced with a feeling that was unanticipated in the moment. And so we put trigger warnings on everything. Fair enough. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the next time I'm at New Seasons, I'll see a trigger warning for vegans approaching the dairy aisle. Fine. What I want to know is, where's my trigger warning? Where is the trigger warning for New Yorkers who go to the biolab at OMSI expecting to see science and are greeted with a bunch of hissing cockroaches? I was triggered. I wanted to call my super and tell him that there is a situation in my apartment. And P.S., I did not buy the Family Deluxe membership at OMSI so that I could take my children, who are in the audience right now, to see a bunch of roaches in a fish tank. I was triggered. There's other things that take some getting used to. The pace of life. Now, the pace of life anywhere that's not New York is going to be different anyway, so I grant you that. But here it's like, nobody seems to see the irony when things are extra slow or extra delayed. For example, with the snow that happened a couple weeks ago. Kim, I don't want to trigger you. I should have mentioned I'm talking about the snow. Some of you might have been on 26 a couple weeks ago. Cover your ears. No, so, you know, where I live in the Jers, there was really only a dusting. Thank you, whoever got that, yes, thank you. There was really only a dusting, and I anticipate, all right, there's going to be a snow day for school. Fine, one snow day, fine. 2 snow days, nobody seemed to care. My husband, also here in the audience, thank you, he had a ski trip planned, and his ski trip got canceled because of the snow. There was an unironic message on the website saying the resort is close to the snow. I didn't understand, and I'm sitting in my car, and I'm contemplating, like, what is it about us here in the greater Portland metro area who that makes it all, like, okay for there to be delays? And as I was sitting in my car, I'm an NPR listener. Anyone here a National Public Radio fan? Why did I even ask? We're in Portland. I have it on in the car. I'm sitting there, happened to be the top of the hour. And for those who are familiar, this is what happens at the top of the hour when you're listening to NPR. KOPBFM Portland, KOABFM Bend, KRBNFM Pendleton, KOBKFM Baker City, KTVR-FM LeGrand, KOGL-FM Glen Eden Beach, KOAP-FM Lakeview, KTMK-FM Tillamook, KOTV-FM The Dalles, KOBN-FM Burns, KOPB-AM Eugene, KOAC-AM Corvallis, KOAC-FM Astoria, KHRV-FM Hood River, KETP-FM Enterprise, KOJD-FM John Day, and you can find us on the web anytime at opb.org. And so it all clicked into place. Because for 45 seconds an hour, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, which I calculated is roughly 4.5 days every year, the entire greater Portland metro area listens to radio call signs. So of course we don't mind a second snow day. And this is in stark contrast to the Bronx, where at the top of every hour, this is what they say on National Public Radio. WNYC FM, New York. And then we get on with our day. And now we'll get on with the show. Thank you so much.
Great job. Maytal Markman, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Maytal's husband is here, and Sean and Sarah, give them a round of applause. Yeah. Your mom did great. I think it's time now for a pledge break. One more time for Maytal. Give it up for her. Yeah, I love living in Portland. My husband and I moved here 22 years ago. I love, there's some diversity here. Not enough, but, it's good. It's really good. Our dry cleaner, Mrs. Lee, Korean, she doesn't speak a lot of English, but it's just enough to get by. I love her. Very funny. A couple of years ago, I took in a pair of jeans that had a red stain right here, and you have to point out the stains, and she goes, "Is it the lipstick?" Everybody's a comic, okay. I went to a Beavers game when they played baseball, PGE, back then. Remember the Beavers, yeah? Baseball team. The first game we went to, they brought a group of Native Americans in to sing the national anthem in their native language, and they got the words mixed up and the game was rained out. But it was the quicker you get these, the sooner we're getting out of here. All right, Maytal's got us up to a great start tonight. This next guy, I'm a big fan of Idris. He is so funny, and I call him a high concept comic. He's a thinking guy. He's a great writer and a great performer. Please welcome Idris Wahed. Bring him up. Idris!
Hey everyone, gonna bring the mood down for a second because I recently lost the love of my life. Thank you, that is sad. That sounds like she died though. She's fine, she's alive and well, she's just with someone else. And, okay, thanks guys, jeez. But these things happen and my heart's been on the mend. And I'm getting to that part where I'm getting excited about what might be next. Thinking about branching out and maybe trying something new. Like maybe a beautiful Persian, or a cute short-haired ginger. Or maybe I go black, like Sabrina, the teenage witch. She had that black cat, Salem. Because I lost my cat in that breakup. She was the love of my life. And a lot of you might have been thinking for a second there that I'm an awful person because the way that we describe pets versus people, very different standards. Like, for anyone that's upset that you can't be a racist anymore, allow me to introduce you to the world of pets. Where it's totally fine to say things like, yes, this is Oliver. He is a 100% purebred, genetically verified pug. The fact that he struggles to breathe on his own only heightens my affection for him. Oh. Yeah, that's not for me, although I am a little bit an awful person. Because I didn't lose just one cat in the breakup, I lost two. A brother and a sister that we just couldn't break up. But if I'm being honest, when I was writing that joke, it was always going to be Elena. Like, if I'm being monstrously honest, if there were 9 separate house fires, and I could only save one cat each time, Elena would have all 9 of her lives. Yeah, that's messed up. But yeah, I did get out of a long-term relationship back in the summer. And just to clarify, from this point on, we are talking about people, not cats. And it's getting to that point, when my heart's on the mend and starting to get excited about what might be next. Actually, let's not go there again. But in the cold of winter, I was feeling a bit lonely, and in a weak moment, decided to do that thing that single people do these days, and I installed the dating apps for the first time in 7 years. And I went into it with that doe-eyed, bushy-tailed enthusiasm of someone that forgot what it's like out there. So I'm genuinely reading people's profiles and looking at the pictures, and if I'm being honest, getting a little carried away. Because I'm imagining what it'd be like to go on a date with these people. What if we have a great first date that leads to a second date, a great third date, a fourth date, and spirals out to this beautiful whirlwind romance where ultimately we end up moving in together, we end up getting a dog even though I wanted a cat. She introduces me to her parents, and me and her dad just really hit it off. And at one point, I'm at a barbecue, and he grabs me by the shoulder. He's like, "You're like the son I never had." I'm like, "You're like the dad I never had." And he's like, "Don't you have a dad?" I'm like, "Shh, don't ruin this." And he's like, "You know what?" He's like, "You know what? Whatever. Look, I'm going hunting this weekend. We have a beautiful property out east, and I would love for you to come out, and we get to know each other even better, and we talk about the future." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'd be honored. That'd be wonderful. Yes." And the weekend comes, and we hop in his truck, and we drive out, and he's got this whole hunting setup. There's a deer blind that we hang out in, and we're talking, and he's telling me everything he's learned in his life, and what it means to be a man. And at one point, he again grabs me by the shoulder, and he's like, "Son, when you're with my daughter, are you using protection?" I'm like, "Yes, sir, of course." And he's like, "Well, next time you do, don't. I want another one just like you." I'm like, "Sir," he's like, "Shh, don't ruin this." And in that moment, he silently motions, and there in this beautiful meadow, in this clearing in the middle of the forest, out comes this majestic elk, just silhouetted by the sunlight, and it's just the most beautiful moment. And then bang, he shoots it, and this beautiful animal just dies right before me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And he looks at me, he grabs me by the shoulder for the third time, and he's like, "Look, son, I know you don't like hunting, you ain't gotta eat this thing, but I'm gonna need you to take this knife, I'm going to carve that elk open. I'm going to crawl in there and spend the night. That is a family ritual. That's a requirement for every man that becomes a part of this family. And you got to go take this knife right now." And in that moment, I'm just panicking and I swipe away. You can't hurt me anymore. Oh, Maria. So yeah, I'm on the dating apps for a couple of weeks, have a few nice dates, and I realize I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready to be a full-on boyfriend again. So I go and uninstall the apps, and reflecting on the dates I went on, I realized I kept getting this feedback on the dates that was, it's so nice to go on a date with someone who asks questions. I was like, okay, is what happened in 7 years? That feels like basic human interaction to me. And then I realized, when I got on Tinder way back when, that was when it first came out. And I think, here's my theory. I think instead of everyone suddenly becoming narcissistic, I think people's standards went up. And these guys are going on dates, feeling all of this pressure to prove themselves, that they are worth loving. So they spent the whole first date just talking about themselves. And I was like, okay, I think I've got the answer to that. I think I know what these guys need. And I'm sure the content, perfect, no notes. They're not just getting it across fast enough. I think you just go through it quick, and then at the end, there's time for a Q&A. So, if you'll humor me a moment, let's just imagine for a moment we matched on a dating app, okay? And we're going on our first date. And we go and we meet at some nondescript bar. And you know what? We're gonna skip the pleasantries and get straight into me telling you why you made a great decision. Okay, let's see. Let me tell you about me. Right out the gate, was born in '88 to an Afghan father and a German mother with a younger sister and an older brother. And sometimes I'm late because I procrastinate. That's not something I meant to admit on a first date. I think some things are meant to be discovered organically over the course of a long, frustrating relationship. Anyway, so I was born in September, so Virgo. That means that my zodiac sign is Virgo. Admittedly, that's all I know about astrology, but hope that scores me some points for free. Not particularly religious, a little superstitious, don't really have any strong belief except be a kind person and brush your teeth. Like, I'm the kind of guy that doesn't believe in ghosts, but still wouldn't fuck with a Ouija board, like, just in case. Like, life is complicated enough. I don't need to accidentally end up haunted. Well, so eventually, the waiter comes by to take an order, and it's like, please don't judge me if I just order tea. I don't smoke, I don't drink, but it's not what you think. It's not abuse that causes to come undone. I just think I'm better than everyone. It's interesting when you tell people you don't drink, they always assume you either have a problem or are a judgmental prick. And I don't know if I've convinced anyone ever that I'm neither. By the way, you're really pretty, that's plain to see, but enough about you and back to me. I like to have fun, I like to run, I tell jokes for fun, I don't own a gun. By the way, I'm not done, I've just begun, cause the night ain't over until you come. I shouldn't be making promises I can't keep. Oh. Yeah. Ooh. There's more. There's more. Just wait. It's getting good now. You guys are so nice. Thank you for waiting patiently with me. Thank you. By the way, this is going great. I might be the one. Introduce me to your dad. He's like, would you be my son? Your dad isn't like weirdly into hunting, is he? It's important for me to know. Look, I'm sorry about the bravado. There's a soft center to this avocado. Look, what I'm trying to say is sometimes I get scared at the end of the day that instead of being loved for who I am, someone sees someone they can mold into someone that they can. And if this is gonna work between you and me, there is one thing I can guarantee. One thing on which you can absolutely bet. If we move in together, I'm getting my own pet. Thank you.
Whoa! Grease, ladies and gentlemen, I was so enthralled by that. Keep it going, Grease Ryan, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you women would date Grease? Applaud. Yeah, not a lot of swipes out there. Good job, Idris. Yeah, one more time. It's good stuff. Very clever. A lot of my students are doing dating app humor. My husband and I have been just celebrated our 25th anniversary in December. Thank you very much. And, he said something really funny last month. I said, you should take my comedy class. He goes, well, I've taken that class. I had to get to the whole gay relationship by my very conservative Republican mother in Florida back in the late 90s. That was fun. We went down there, I introduced her to Gary, and she's looking across the table. She says, now, which one of you is gay? And it's like, okay. And she said to me, well, we didn't have homosexuals in the 1950s. I said, well, somebody put the fins on those Cadillacs. Yeah. Somebody did those beehive hairdos. We have a lesbian friend, Jenny. She said, oh, I also have a right-wing Republican mother in Florida. I came out to her, I told her I was a lesbian. She said her mother went, what's next, Jenny? Heroin? Lesbianism, the gateway drug. Okay. Coming to the stage now, another of my, well, they're all my favorites, but we love Na because Na is just, I talk about material plus style. Na's got the material and her style is just who she is, which is absolutely perfect. Please welcome Na Wen, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, my name is Na. Like, can I take you home? Nah. So my friend came to a show last time and she was just like, how do you have so much dating material when you don't go on dates or go outside? I used to go on dates and then I'm reminded as to why I need to stay home. So I don't know if it's the recession or if guys spend all their money on the top tier girls. So when it comes so when it comes to me, they have like $5 left or $0. So lately I've been asked to go on a lot of park walk dates. In the rain and cold. This does not include a cute picnic. And the expectation is that I'm supposed to spend an hour to look like my picture. To go on this walk to hear about his favorite position. And then I'm supposed to go home with him after. So I'm not a dog. Nor am I a free prostitute. Prostitutes get paid. And then this guy asked me to go to McDonald's as a first date. He said, you get to pick your own Happy Meal. Sir, Happy Meal does not equal a happy ending. And then on my birthday last year, this guy messaged me to say happy birthday. So I was like, cool, somebody that remembers things. And then he said to me, come over, I'm gonna give you this dick to eat for your birthday. Ew! That is not an actual birthday present. So because of all this, with how men are to me, I decided to conduct a social experiment. Just, something where I can gather and use the knowledge and findings from this study to reference to men later on. So I'm from Portland, Oregon, and if you're a native here, you know that 82nd is where all the prostitutes are. So I decided to go to 82nd, talk to one, understand the market. So I asked my friend to go with me. She's kind of like a bodybuilder. I figured she'll be good security. So I'm driving us down 82nd, and we're looking for prostitutes. rainy day, so there was like not a lot working, but we finally found one. We were like so excited. So I like parked, and I was really nervous, and I was like, okay, act cool, you know. So then I came up to her, and I was just like, what's up? How much? Asking for my bro. And you guys, this is 2023 street rates of Portland, Oregon. $150 for a quickie, or $500 an hour. This includes full service and mouth work. So I took these numbers back to my friend, and she was just like, wow, I have been so cheap. We have been so cheap. And you know, I have to agree. So we had to take a moment of silence for our lives. And then in that moment, I decided that this will no longer be a non-profit organization. We are transitioning to a for-profit business. And you know, I feel like I was cuter, okay, than that prostitute. Like, I know. And like, I'm average looking, but I'm funny, okay? And when you're funny, you're a 10. And also, my skills are comparable. So now, when guys ask me, can we Netflix and chill? Can you call me daddy? Can you sit on my face? $500 an hour or not. And then it made me realize that being a fuck buddy is a complete scam. That is reoccurring visits for free. There is no other occurrence in this world where dick is a currency. Like, imagine a guy trying to go to the store to buy eggs right now, okay? And then the cashier is like, cash or credit, sir? And he's like, I'm gonna pay with this dick! And then she's gonna be like, security, please get this crazy man out of the store. So ladies, it is 2023. Our body, our choice. Let's take our power back. And, you know, just remember the lesson of this research study is if anyone's son is trying to get free kitty, tell him $500 an hour or to the streets. Thank you. Goodbye.
Now win, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And the comedy course is only $275 for 8 weeks. I just want you to know. Not one more time for an eye. Just like all kinds of new material. It's great. This makes me laugh. By the way, PortlandComedy.com is the website for here. I think we have 2 slots left in the introductory class for spring. So sign up at PortlandComedy.com. Love those socks, sir. Those are great socks. My husband wears socks like that. They're striped. They're good. I really like it. Good for you. Where are you guys? Where did you fly in from tonight?
We live here.
You live here? Right here.
We do.
All right. Well, we won't stay in your place too long tonight. We'll be out by 10. Yeah. I saw something in Portland today I've never seen. I have to tell you. I saw a car with Washington plates going the correct way down a one-way street. How unbelievable. I'm sorry, Maytal. Was that you? Oh, my God. I'll make it up. My friend Robert's here. He lives in Vancouver as well, Maytal. I'll make it up. Because Washington did something no other state has done. I'm very proud of them. In 2012, Washington voters approved both gay marriage and legal pot on the same election day. Pretty cool, huh? Which just proves Washingtonians proved to us that people were just reading the Bible incorrectly. In Leviticus, it says if a man sleeps with a man, he should be stoned. So, thank you. Coming to the stage now, another guy who's been in my intermediate class along with the introductory. He did a whole new set for the intermediate class. Very proud of him. Always great to see him work. Does a great job. Please welcome Jeff Bell, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff Bell!
Hey everybody, I'm kind of embarrassed. I was the guy that actually asked Nah out to McDonald's. Put on blast. I see a lot of smiles out there, and I'm hoping I can keep it that way. I'm a little nervous about this first thing I have to admit to you. Gotta get it off my chest though. I don't really care for people with Down syndrome. I didn't know if that was funny or not, but I realize it does need quick and immediate clarification. As someone with cerebral palsy, I don't care for people with Down syndrome because all my life they've gotten all of the attention, and no one gives a shit about cerebral palsy. If you see me walking down the street, you think, well, something's wrong. Maybe he's just drunk. And you'd be right like a third of the time. That's not the point. You see someone with Down syndrome, you know what it is, and you probably assume that they're generally happy and funny and just having a good time, because they probably are. They've been spoiled their entire lives. While they were getting free trips to Disneyland, the best thing that I ever got as a kid was an extra token to the Tilt-A-Whirl at Oaks Park. So the 100-year-old rundown amusement park in Southeast Portland gave me an extra ride on their puke machine. So, thank you, Oaks Park. Do I sound bitter? That's kind of what I'm going for here. We had 2 kids in elementary school with Down syndrome, and every single year we would throw them these fundraisers to send them and their families on these lavish vacations. But they didn't forget about me one time by building an extra hand railing on one of the staircases. And they named it after me. There's a plaque that says, the Jeff Bell completely unnecessary hand railing. Because it's only 3 stairs. So, I used it, but I'm not sure about anybody else. If you're picturing a very unathletic young boy, you've got me pegged. But that didn't stop me from being a huge lover of sports. I actually tried out for the high school basketball team, and I made it. Looking back on it, I think it was kind of a Make-A-Wish situation. Yeah. I looked it up, and if you help grant a Make-A-Wish, you get a sizable tax refund. So I somehow made that basketball team, and the teachers somehow had a new lounge in the spring. You do the math on that one. I had a great time on the team, though, but I never played. I rode the bench all year until we got to the final game. We were up by 20 points, and I thought, this is my chance. I'm going to get to go in the game. The coach even called timeout, and he pointed right down at the end of the bench to the kid next to me who had Down syndrome. God damn you, Gregory. He won the hearts of many people that night. He did not win mine. Not a fan of Gregory. My love of sports continued, though, more as a fan. Some might say I'm a little too vocal, like my neighbor who asked me what I did the other day because apparently I've been yelling some very strange and inappropriate things through the walls. So I said, like what? And buckle up here, because she had a list. At the top of the list was, that's beautiful, D. And next was, how could you miss the hole? It was right in front of you. We've got, don't just caress the ball. You got to really squeeze it sometimes. And we're just 6 inches to glory here. But I contest that last one. I don't remember saying it. And if I did, I'm sure it was 9 inches. But I feel like I probably sound like an alcoholic porn director. And honestly, baseball season gets me into a little more trouble. because you've got, don't just stop on first base, get on into second. And how could you let it go right in between your legs? My personal favorite, does the pitcher think he's the catcher here? What's going on? And then maybe everybody's favorite, oh, he took him deep. So I was pretty embarrassed, and I quickly explained, this is just me yelling about sports. And she said, okay, so the other day when you said, that's a DP, I said, double play. Yes, we are on the same page there. And she said, okay, most of it makes sense, except that one time you yelled, he's finishing way too early. And I had to stop and think about that one, and I realized that was just me watching porn. She got me there. Some things about cerebral palsy that you may not know. For me, it affects really just my left side in particular. And as a result of that, I've developed a very interesting relationship with my left hand. And not in the way that that might imply. Although, I do have to admit, I did once try masturbating with my left hand, and it took me 90 minutes. And of course, my girlfriend's going, 90 minutes? Must be nice. Where is that energy? But that is not the objective of a solo mission. So, and this is back when I had a Pornhub Pro account. So we're talking access to all of the premium categories, including one for cerebral palsy. Sounds like that may interest some of you as well, but for me, it was kind of like looking in a goofy sex mirror. Fun times. But it's not just the physical stuff. I don't really know how to describe this, but my left hand is kind of an idiot also. And I'll give you an example. When you're first learning to count in like kindergarten, you use your fingers to help you count to 5. Well, this fucking asshole cannot even do that, but we have been practicing. So today, in front of you all, this is not a magic trick. We're going to do the notoriously difficult task of counting to 5. All right, you got it here, buddy. We'll start at 1 here. So 1. That's pretty much what happens every time. Oh boy. I've developed a couple of irrational fears too as a result of having CP. One of them being that I realized pretty early on I was never going to be able to commit a crime, because if any of that is caught on tape or there is a single eyewitness, I'm fucked. I just imagine them watching the tape back. All right, we've got 3 people running from the scene here, pretty indistinguishable. I don't know how we're going to be able to tell who did this. Oh, what's that? There is a 4th person bringing up the rear. He's kind of just limping along. He looks like he's trying to break dance. Maybe he's just drunk. And of course, it would be a very short amount of time before, all right, clearly we've got someone with cerebral palsy here who probably sucks at basketball. And it's pretty obvious he masturbates predominantly with his right hand. I think we've got our guy. Along the same lines, another fear I have is if I ever am pulled over and have to take a field sobriety test. So you've seen me for several minutes now. Do I look like someone who's capable of walking in a straight line for any amount of distance? The first time I saw a balance beam, I just cried. I realized that was never going to be an option for me. They might as well ask me to do a cartwheel or try the floss dance, which I think that's the beginning of it, and then there's some leg stuff after that, but this is being recorded, so I'm not going to do it anymore. But I'm worried they wouldn't really buy my reasoning for not being able to pass the test. I'm picturing an officer going back and telling his sergeant, yeah, he says he has cerebral palsy. Is this a real thing? Have you even heard about this? Yeah, I asked him to count to 5. He just started at 5. Well, it sounds like he might just have Down syndrome. And if he does, you wish that son of a bitch a good night, you send him on his merry way. One other fear I had, which I think is a little more rational, is the fear of dating. I was really worried that I was going to be judged. But I had a lot of confidence anyway, and my first crush was in 5th grade, and I had the brilliant idea to write her a love note, except instead of just normal, weird 5th grade poetry, I decided to use the lyrics to Angel by Shaggy. And instead of the word girl, I put her name. So if you can't remember the song, Kristen, you're my angel, you're my darling angel. All right, everybody? Kristen, you're my friend when I'm just kidding, all right. Who wants to hear me keep singing? This is on tape, I'm gonna stop. So I hand her the note at recess. She's surrounded by friends, which made it so much better. And she takes one look at the note, and I get the full Home Alone face, and she screams and runs away. And I never saw her again. Her parents pulled her out of school that same night. I don't know if that was because of me or not, but it left me pretty deflated. So about a year ago, I looked her up. I was curious what she was up to. And it turns out she's in prison. She took a bus to D.C. a couple years back on January 6th. I don't know. No, that would be so funny. That would be such a funny ending for her story. She probably wishes that was her ending too, because actually she shot herself in a hunting accident and she's dead. She's dead. I don't know what the lesson is here. I've gained a lot of confidence over the years. I'm in a great relationship now. And I think looking back on that one, I think it's pretty clear that I dodged a bullet and she unfortunately did not. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Jeff Bell, ladies and gentlemen. Oh. A hunting accident. Boy, that'll bring a smile to your face. One more time. Jeff. Oh, the class is so much fun. Yeah. What's amazing is like 8 weeks ago when we started, none of these performers spoke English. That's the amazing thing. I'm trying to eat better. Anybody trying to eat better? Yeah, we're all trying to eat better. I gave up fast food 3 weeks ago. I was at Burger King. I ordered a burger. The woman behind the counter gave me the burger. Then she said to me, "Would you like to contribute to cancer research?" So I gave her back the burger. And thank you. Sometimes I instruct my students on jokes that don't work. My husband Gary, a couple weeks ago, we were eating dinner, and he goes, "Is there anything worse than hard butter?" Genocide? All right, coming to the stage now. I love all my students. She's absolutely wonderful. She's in my introductory class. She's so good I brought her on the stage with the intermediate as well. I love her spirit. I love her comedy. She's actually one of the few people I've ever met from Alaska. Please welcome Ann Lindsay. Ann Lindsay.
Thank you so much. As Carl hinted at, my name's Ann, and I'm from a very small town in Alaska. It's so small that the DMV closes for a month during moose hunting season. Like, if you need anything there, just wait a few weeks, the police won't pull you over, it's chill. At the beginning of hunting season, we don't have active shooter drills or anything in Alaska, everyone has a gun. But they do start morning announcements by reminding you to remove your guns from your vehicles because it's federal land. And it starts off like, "Hey, just reminding y'all, if you have your hunting rifle in your truck, please bring it home right now." And then again at lunch, they'll repeat it. And they're like, "Hey, Woody, we still can see your gun in your truck. Either hide it better or bring it home." My high school was so small that I managed to sleep with 2/3 of the senior class. It wasn't a train or anything, it was just a locomotive and a caboose. Choo-choo. So I had to move to the big city, and now I work in tech, and that's pretty cool. I do think I'm a personality hire though for my company. Like, I'm not a diversity hire, but I think they have me there because I'm fun, I'll talk at the start of meetings, and I'm just generally entertaining for all my colleagues. I work for a New York-based company, and my favorite thing to do with my PTO is whitewater rafting. I go on an annual family trip. This baffles my colleagues. They're like, your favorite thing to do is to go away for 6 days, talk to no one but people you're related to, poop in a bucket, and be completely inaccessible. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely my favorite thing to do. I don't have to talk to any of you. They get it. But I do work remotely, which gets kind of lonely. Luckily, my boyfriend also works remotely, and so sometimes during the day we role play. Not in the way you think. One of us will go out and get donuts. The other person will be like, ooh, donuts? You shouldn't have. And I'll take out a butter knife and cut them into 8s. And slowly pick away at them over the next week before they get too stale and there's only the bad ones left. Then we chuck it. As you might be able to tell with me standing up here, I have what some might call teacher pet energy. Authority really loves me. Every single report card I had as a child said I was an absolute delight. My mother's not that way. Her report card said she had verbal diarrhea. I've gotten to the age where I've just decided not to argue with my mom. Generally, when you get into an argument with her, she sends you 20 academic journals. You have to read them to rebut her points. I don't have a JSTOR subscription anymore. I'm not going to do that. So I've just decided anytime, I just don't engage. That's not the only thing about her. My sister got engaged, and when she got engaged, my mother had a ranch. She had a ranch that was weird. She slaughtered a cow and gave it to my sister's future husband. It's like, Mom, I don't think Kate needs a dowry. She'll earn her keep. She's very smart. When my mom got remarried, she got remarried in the Sierra Nevadas on a motorcycle, wearing an all-white leather jumpsuit on her hot pink motorcycle with hot pink booties with little rhinestones and her veil going off the back of her helmet. I found out via email. And in case you think this is a new thing, and she's always been like this, one of our first trips we took when I was a child, I was 6 years old, and we were going down to Florida to visit my grandparents, where all grandparents live. And we went to Nickelodeon Studios, Disney World, the farmer's market. That was the highlight. I was always destined to move to Portland. And at the farmer's market, my sister and I found these very cute miniature pigs. And we were having the best time with the miniature pigs. We went to the farmer's market early on the trip, and then we made my mom go back again instead of going to Disneyland a second time because we wanted to go play more with the mini pigs. And while we're sitting down at the farmer's market petting these pigs, having the best time of our lives, this old man comes up and shoulder taps my mom. He's like, I can get you one of those for $20. Mom's like, $20 to entertain my children for hours. Sounds like a great deal. So we followed this man for an hour into rural Florida. He pulls out this piglet out of this pig pen. Piglet smells terrible. It's covered in its own excrement. Puts it in the back of our car. We drive back to my grandparents. My mom and I take the piglet out and we start giving it a bath because it smells awful. We're hosing it down. We're scrubbing it down. Piglet makes a break for it. We take off after chasing it. We send my sister in, who's 4 years old, to tell the grown-ups that we've gone after the pig. She goes in. She's like, the pig's on. They have no idea what she said. They give her a cookie. My mom and I aren't making much progress on the pig because I'm 6. She doesn't run. But we're lucky. We run into triathletes who are training. They have bikes. They're swimmers. They're running. And my mom's a salesperson, if nothing else, and convinces these people that their perfect training activity would be capturing this pig with us. 3 hours later, the sun's setting, no one's caught the pig. The next day, we get on there, we're getting ready to go to the airport. My mom gets a call, she's like, hey, we got your pig. And I was like, oh, that's so great. And like, you want it back? And she's like, no, that was worth $20. A few years ago, I get a call from my mom, and she's like, hey, I need to have ear surgery. And it needs to be done in Portland, because Alaska Town's too small. And she's like, could you take me to the ear surgery? She was like, it's a simple outpatient procedure. If you can't, no big deal, I'll just take a lift. And I'm 26 years old. I have my first tech job. I'm feeling like I have benefits. I'm like, Mom, don't worry. I gotcha. I'll take off the day and I'll take you to have your simple outpatient procedure. We can go to lunch after. And she's like, okay, great, but if it's stressful at all, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, I have this. So it's the night before. She's flown into town. We're out to dinner with my new boyfriend. It's the first time my boyfriend's meeting my mom. And he's trying his very best to make a good impression. He's buying our dinner. He's like, hey, if you need anything at all, just give me a call. I'll be there to help. And I was like, we won't. It's a simple outpatient procedure. If you're getting suspicious about this, you should be. I was. Henry was not. He had not learned this lesson yet. He's a very, very sweet man. A few weeks ago, I was just crying in a car, and he was sitting there patiently, and I was like, I had such a bad day at work, and he just starts passing me the cheapest fast food napkins. To the point where it's like I'm still crying, but much like a toddler with a tantrum, I'm beginning to get distracted. And I'm just like, where did you get all these napkins from? Because it's a weird amount. He's like, I know, I'm so sorry. Like, those are probably the cheapest thing that's touched your face in a decade. He's not wrong. I have a 12-step skincare routine. I spend way too much money on it. It's just a factual statement. But I take this moment to go, well, actually, your cum is free. And you know who has problems with free cum? I have a bunch of friends who are lesbians, and they're in the market for cum these days. And if you think dating apps are bad, think about buying cum online. Like, you are just looking at pictures, you're looking at SAT scores, you're looking at childhood report cards, but you're still making a very important decision based off very little information. It's terrifying. Whew. I take full advantage of the Zappos return policy. I'm like, you know, that shine is not quite right. Going back. As far as I know, you cannot return children. Oof. But anyways, the next day, my mom comes out, and we're getting ready to drive her to her simple outpatient procedure. She is laden with bags. There are too many of them. And she has a dog. The dog had never been mentioned before this. The dog's on a leash, and she has 5 bags. We load up into my car, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm taking care of a dog today, too. We start driving. We're going out to Beaverton, and the dog goes, nom, 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 nom. I'm like, what's that dog doing? I'm like, hey, Mom, can you check on the dog? She's like, no, it's just eating its kibble. I'm like, I don't think kibble sounds like nom, 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 nom. And I'm like, and she's like, okay. And I drive a large truck because you can take the girl out of Alaska, but you can't take Alaska out of the girl. So she's on buckles. And she's crawling into the back, which is a journey. Suddenly she pops back up and she goes, oh shit! And I'm like, I'm like, and she has an edibles container. It's empty. And I'm like, how much was in there? She's like, it was 50 milligrams. The dog's 30 pounds. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I immediately pull over and I jam my whole arm down the dog's throat, trying to make it vomit. The dog has also got into Sensodyne toothpaste and spread it all over the back of my car. So I'm covered in deep throat dog slobber, Sensodyne toothpaste and brownie plums, but no dog vomit. My mom's like, you know, just drop me off at the hospital, and then you can go drop the dog off at the vet and come back later. And I was like, great. Drop my mom off. I'm like, rate me 5 stars. Thank you so much. And I immediately pull over and I start looking up vets in the area that I can call. And I call vets, and they're trying to do the standard triage of like, have you been here before? What's your pet's name? Are they fixed? What's their astrological sign? And I'm like, ma'am, simple yes, no question. Can you make a dog vomit right now? Also, obviously a Taurus. I find one that agrees to make the dog vomit with very few questions. Drive her over, drop her off. I'm like, can this be like a simple outpatient procedure? Like, can we vomit right now and get her back in the car? And I'm like, no, we're going to need to keep her supervised all day. I'm like, great. head back over to the hospital. I'm meeting up with my mom, and I see her, and I walk into the room she's in, and at this moment I see her in her full surgical gown, talking to the anesthesiologist. I'm like, not a simple outpatient procedure. And I asked the doctor, and I'm like, hey, so like, what's the aftercare? Like, what am I gonna need to do here? So clearly I know nothing. And they're like, it's 3 days of constant supervision. She's gonna have really bad vertigo and not be able to walk. Whew. My roommates are not gonna like that. Say, great, head back up to the waiting room. I'm calling the vet, I'm calling the doctor, I'm getting updates over the next few hours. I call the vet, I'm like, hey, any chance the dog's doing okay? And they're like, yeah, she's doing great. She's hanging out in the back room. She's listening to Pink Floyd and to some macrame. We've never seen a dog this high. Great. Yeah, awesome. My mom comes out of surgery. Her head is wrapped. Packing up to here, she looks like she fought in World War II and did not do a good job. We get into the car. That's not willing to let me pick up the dog yet, so I start driving back to town. My mom's like, we need to stop at the grocery store. I'm like, I don't think we do. Let me just get you home really quick. And she's like, no, there's New Seasons right there, pull over. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it, we'll get there. And I drive by, and she's like, there's a New Seasons 8 blocks on the right. I'm like, how do you know this? You don't live in this town, and you navigate to the airport by looking for how the planes land. But she's right, there is a New Seasons over there, because it's Portland, and there you can throw a rock. So, going back to my first point, I don't argue with my mom, so we're going to New Seasons. We get out, I get her a little cart so she can push the cart. She was going up and down every single aisle like this. I'm behind her like I'm spotting someone in the rock gym. And she is swiping things off the shelf like she is a cat on the internet. And people are looking at me because I'm letting a woman that looks like she has a traumatic brain injury just wander up and down New Seasons. It's fine though. She makes it out, she gets back into the car, we get home, Henry calls me. He's like, hey, how did surgery go? Is everything okay? I'm like, Henry, boy, do I have a Henry to-do list for you. Ooh, you need to go pick up a really high dog out in Beaverton during rush hour. You will be lectured and judged, and they're going to give you bland food. Then we need you to stop at the weed shop and get more edibles because we are out of those. And then as long as you're there, you might as well stop at Taco Bell and stock up on those cheap napkins. Thank you so much.
And Lindsley, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen's going for those edibles. Look, it's unbelievable. Right to the snack bar. It's just one more time for Ann Lindsley, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't know many people from Alaska. My husband's from South Dakota. Anyone from South Dakota? Yeah, I thought so. His high school mascot was actually the Irrigators. South Dakota, yeah. The cheer was too easy, ladies and gentlemen. How about a hand for Ann and everybody on the show? Really good stuff. Just creative, good, fun. Our class is that way. PortlandComedy.com if you want to read about it. Okay, coming to the stage now. Just a very, very funny guy, very polished. Aiden, I think you've had an acting background. If you haven't, I'd be very impressed because you're very, very good on stage in every way. Please welcome Aiden Diskin, ladies and gentlemen. Aiden Diskin!
I'm feeling a little insecure today, so I haven't had a chance to trim my ear hair. Don't look up there. But I got a dog during the pandemic, one of many people, and like any good new dog owner, I started binge watching Cesar Millan, Dog Whisperer. You know, the guy's like a fucking Jedi with dogs, right? Dogs are insane, and then all of a sudden they're running a board meeting. They're like, Cesar called this meeting to order for us. But yeah, I got a dog, and I was watching Cesar Millan, and I have a pit bull mix. I rescued a pit bull mix, and he was working with a pit bull mix that was chewing on a toy in the corner. And Cesar was strangely uncomfortable with that. And he started talking about how the dog had killer eyes. When he's chewing on that toy, he's thinking about killing. Oh shit. I did not know killer eyes was a thing on dogs. And my dog's over in the corner, and you know that feeling when somebody's watching you? So I look over, he's fucking looking at me. And now we're making eye contact and nobody wants to break first. But he's also licking his asshole, so I'm not that concerned. My dog's name was Rover when I got him, which is like naming your dog Dog. So I had to change it. I changed it to Ryan. His full name is Ryan Reynolds. Because I thought I'd like train him up real good and make him Instagram famous, but the only thing he does consistently is make eye contact with me while rimming himself. So his name's still Ryan Reynolds, but I just call him Ryan. I paid to have his DNA done recently, and before you ask, no, I have not done my own. But I paid to have his DNA done recently, and he's part pit bull, part Doberman Pinscher. I know, right? He's also 16% Chihuahua and 12% Pekingese, so he's just so vicious. He's such a vicious dog. And I thought about it one day, and given the potential combinations there, I can't imagine that any of those pairings were consensual. But speaking of DNA, you know, hold on, before you go crazy, I was just gonna say, it's interesting the things that we inherit through our DNA, right? Personality traits, our height, your undiagnosed mental illness. But there's one thing that my mother and I share, and that is that we are both snarters. If you don't know what a snart is, it's when you sneeze and you fart at the same time. The force of the sneeze propels the fart out your butt. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've been nodding since the first mention of the word, so. Twice a year, he says. But yeah, my mom would get up, you know, we're watching TV, she'd go in the kitchen, and we both have a very contained sneeze, you know, and that's how I know I got it from her, because when my dad sneezed, it was like, have you ever seen like Planet Earth when the walrus slow-mos and just roars and everything's moving and everything's flying? That was my dad's sneeze. My mom and I are a little more contained. We did come by our snarting honestly, though. Grandma was a snarter. But I'd like to imagine further and further back, her mom and her mom's mom and her, all the way back to the old country where my ancestors were snarting their way from potato farm to potato farm, from Memphis to County Cork. My mom is actually here tonight. I thought I'd point her out after I talked about, she's actually here tonight, and she's an amazing person, been one of the most supportive people in my life. But sometimes I feel really bad, because I get so unreasonably annoyed with my mom. The other day, she texted me, guess who I ran into? So I'm writing out this whole response that's like, look, just tell me. I don't need to hear about every person you've met or seen. You know I don't know half the people that you know, and somebody that I met when I was 3 does not qualify for an update. And I hit send, and then I immediately am like, dude, you should have just responded, who? Who did you run into the other day, man? I wanted to make a little correction. I don't know what you guys have heard, but despite what you've heard from my elementary, middle, and high school classmates, I'm not gay. It really started early, you know. Kids made fun of me, you know, they called me gay, called me names, but it wasn't totally their fault. It was the 90s, and it was just something we said as a synonym for stupid or lame, which is kind of a stupid and lame thing to do, so in a way, we were all a little gay. But yeah, they called me names. My name's Aiden Diskin. They called me Gaiden Dickskin. Yeah, it's clever and it still hurts my feelings. And then they swung real big. They went to the F word, the big pejorative. You know, I actually can't physically say it. I can only spell it out for you, like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. F double gut up. So they call me names, but they did all of these things because I was in a very serious extracurricular boys chorus. I was a boy soprano, you know, so I sang really high, you know, so I was just prime target at that point. But yeah, it did have a couple advantages being in a boys chorus that young. I was the only person in my second grade class who could tie a tie. And I was smug about it. I'd have to come to school like in uniform for a midday concert, and I'd be like, yeah, today I did a single Windsor, but I can do a double or a twibble. I can also do a bow tie if you like. That's literally just me talking to my second grade teacher. She's the only one who cared. But yeah, I'd try to like throw shade back at the kids who were making fun of me. They'd be like, you're gay, and I'd be like, at least I don't have to wear a clip-on to church. Really serious boys chorus though. So serious, the first thing they teach you when you walk in the door at 7 years old is a punctuality policy. It's fun. That punctuality policy is this: if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. I can't read a clock yet. The only thing that I've ever been on time for on my own is Saturday morning cartoons. Seriously, Monday to Friday, my mom's banging on the door, she's throwing the cover. I don't know, like I'm getting mad at 7 years old, fuck you! But 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, I'm sitting crisscross applesauce in front of the TV with a big bowl of Fruity Pebbles because it's Darkwing Duck time. Let's get dangerous. But in this boys chorus, all the serious practice and intensity, it really paid off. A few years later, we were invited to perform with the San Francisco Symphony, and the recording of that concert later that year won a Grammy Award. First praise I've ever gotten for it outside of my family. And yeah, so I'm over the moon, right? All these kids who are calling me names and stuff, they're all gonna shut up because I am a Grammy Award winner. Believe it or not, 8th graders are not impressed by niche music awards. The lesson I learned. So I'm done with that. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna show you guys just how gay I'm not. I'm gonna go to high school and I'm gonna get really, really good at musical theaters, where all straight men go to demonstrate their masculinity. And I did. I got really good at musical theater, and I got the lead in my high school's production of Oklahoma. Again, I'm over the moon, right? People are gonna stop. Cowboys are hella straight, right? It was like 2001, so real close to having that window just shattered for us, right? But yeah, so I do that, and people aren't convinced, right? And for a while, I kind of let people think what they want, because I got invited to like the all-girls movie nights where we snuggle up under blankets, but then you get tired of having to pretend like the boner you have is from Van Wilder on TV. Mom, Van Wilder was an early 2000s Ryan Reynolds movie. potential inspiration for my dog's name. But yeah, so I get tired of that, and I'm like, you know what? Gotta go do something else. Because I'm wasting all of this heterosexual energy I got going on, right? And I gotta find something else to prove I'm not defensive about it, right? So I know what I'm gonna do. It comes to me one day. I'm gonna go do ballet. I'm gonna go be a ballet dancer because I'm thinking I'm gonna be a big fish in a tiny little pond of all these like sexy little lady fish in leotards and a bunch of gay fish swimming around. I guess they'd be seahorses. But everywhere I went, my ballet school, my first company, it was a lot of like straight dudes, bros, right? Frat bros, kind of like that kind of energy, right? We're slapping each other's ass. We're talking about how hot the girls are. But then it would get confusing because somebody would come up to you and be like, hey bro, are the seams in my tights straight? Or you'd overhear, oh man, I got lipstick on my leotard. It could get very confusing, but it had a real like locker room vibe. After shows, we had this big kind of like gym shower. We put a big pitcher or a cooler of beer in the middle of it. There's not a joke there. I miss it. But it wasn't until the next company I danced for, where I danced with the majority of gay men, who all wanted to fuck me. I'm not being arrogant. They told me repeatedly that they wanted to fuck me. There was one guy, I was in a dressing room, he was over there, and I'm changing, so I'm naked, and you know that feeling when somebody's looking at you? So I look over and he's looking at me. He's like leering at me though, right? So he's like, and I immediately get uncomfortable and I'm like, what? And he says to me, I just really wanted to suck your dick right now. So this guy had this perception that not just his, but everyone's sexuality is on a spectrum. And by turning straight dancers, he was helping them make a choice they just hadn't made yet, right? And I'm like, bro, my heterosexuality is not a fucking choice. Yeah, so he's there, and I'm here, and I feel so like gross and mad about it in the moment, but I have this thing like as a straight white man, I don't feel like I get that mad about stuff anymore, you know? There's no like issues like cultural appropriation that I need to protect because my culture is potato famine and dancing like this, and nobody wants that. So I'm here and I'm naked and he's over here and he's just like, I really want to suck your dick right now. And I feel gross and I feel mad and I'm trying to think of something to do and I have this realization. Oh, this is how women feel all the time, right? This is just something you guys are made to deal with daily, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Funny stuff, Aiden Dixon. Aiden Dixon, ladies and gentlemen. And Aiden, is your mom really here? Is your mom really here?
Yeah.
Where?
Mom, raise your hand.
Oh, hi! Stand up. Yeah. With a very talented son. Thank you. Hey, what's your name?
Pat.
Beth?
Pat.
Pest? I'm just giving you material. Oh, Pat! How about a hand for Pat? That's yeah. No! Oh, the whole family?
Yeah.
Let's play Family Feud, shall we? My mom and I love each other, but we've argued politics since high school. It's like, when I visited her in Florida, it's like one time she accidentally bleached my Obama t-shirt, so I set fire to her Glenn Beck Christmas sweater. That's what I did. Aiden's very talented. I tried out. Oklahoma was my senior year. I tried out for it. I didn't get it. They put me in the B production. Kansas is what they put me in. I actually had a summer job in Kansas. It's the hardest job in Kansas. My job was to go around the entire state of Kansas, and whenever a cow took a shit, I'd have to put down a sign that said highest point in Kansas. One more time for Aiden, everybody on the show. Good job. Coming to stage, another performer who has, she brings her own squad with her, her family and friends love her, but we all love her. She's so great. Please welcome Hannah Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Hannah Miller.
Hey everybody. Shout out to my family who drove like 4.5 hours to come. Thanks for coming, it's really nice. Now back to me. So my boyfriend went on this all-guys camping trip a few weeks ago in Whistler, Canada. And the day before he left, he was like, "Babe, let's share locations in case a bear attacks us. You can find me." He's so smart. And there's a few holes in that logic, but the main problem is I'm a stalker. Retired, but can easily lace up my sneakers and get back in the game. So I agreed to sharing locations because, you know, bears. And like a week goes by, I'm not really checking it because Canada just looks like a big blob on my phone. But I want to know what time he'll be home. So I start checking and refreshing, just very chill, not like a sucker, just checking, refreshing. And I see that they are just north of Seattle in Arlington, Washington, at a place called Your Fantasy Espresso. That's the letters U-R Fantasy Espresso. Great name. Now I support women. I support women who work corporate jobs, and I support women who want to make a chai tea latte in their underwear. And maybe Your Fantasy was the #1 rated coffee shop in Arlington, Washington, and so we had to go there. But I've seen my boyfriend drink 2-day-old coffee that's been sitting out on the counter, so he don't need to go there. So I start to do some very chill, just liberal, nonchalant research. And did you know that there are 4 Starbucks, a Boulevard Espresso, a Sunrise Espresso, and an Insomnia Coffee, all within a half a mile of Your Fantasy? Not to mention the Wyndham Garden Inn in Arlington that he slept at the night before serves a continental breakfast that he chose not to partake in. I checked. And now, if you're not familiar with Your Fantasy, you've never been there, you absolutely don't support women. No, I'm just kidding. It's like a boulevard, or it's like a bikini barista. And if you don't know what that is, it's like if Spirit Halloween and Dutch Brothers had a sexy baby. We totally support. So I'm having this inner conflict. I'm like, Hannah, do you really care if your boyfriend got coffee from a 20-something in her underwear? And then I'm like, he's never asked me to make him coffee in my underwear. You know, if every morning he was like, "Babe, get up, put your thong on, make me a coffee. Can't go to work without my thong coffee. Gotta have my thong coffee or I'll go back to sleep. I'm asleep." Then I'd be like, I get it. Men have needs. Get your thong coffee. But he's never done that, so my feelings are valid. So I think, what does any just super chill Portland girlfriend do in this situation? So I run to the mall, grab some lingerie, go home, brew some coffee, put it on, wait by the door with the coffee, and then when he walks in, I say, "Here's your fantasy, bitch." And he told me we should stop sharing locations. No, but he's great. He's awesome. He's the love of my life. LOML. That's love of my life. We met a couple years ago. I felt like I was on the dating apps forever. I think since 1996, I've been on the dating apps. And my friends were like, "Oh, you guys met on a dating app? Which app? Bumble, Hinge?" And I'm like, he gets coffee from strippers. We met on Tinder, obviously. Are you stupid? Hello. Thanks, Lex. But no, he's really great. He's supportive. He lets me do this entire 10 minutes about him. Where is he? Oh my God, he is here. Whoa, Rudy's not. Rudy's trash! Oh my God, he's trash! Let's fucking roast him. He's not here. Wow, trash. Okay, wow. Different set, starting now. Anyway, so what about my horrible boyfriend? Yeah, love languages. So, I've been hearing a lot about the love languages. There's 5 of them. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's like words of affirmation, quality time, blah, blah, blah. Look them up. And so I asked him what his love language is, and I no longer care. That's not him. So I asked him what his love language was, and he said it's quality time. And then I told him mine are gifts and services, obviously. And then I heard on a podcast that you give the love languages that you desire, that you want to receive, like subconsciously. And so I'm always like doing little nice things for him, getting him little surprise gifts, and doing services like microwaving his dinner and letting him. I'm a millennial girl, we don't cook, okay? And I'm like letting him watch sports in the living room, like how nice of me. And because his love language is quality time, he's always just there. Except for right now. Barely, but he's always there. This joke doesn't really work tonight, I don't know, okay, he's not here. Anyway, he sucks. What else? Wow, he really ruined my transitions. So this is what I was gonna say. No, he's like really great. I really love him. He's super supportive. I get it. This is crazy. Like literally, text him. Hey, text.
He said he's throwing up.
He's throwing up? What'd you say?
He's sick. He's sick is what he said.
He's
No
sick?
excuse. Doesn't matter.
He's sick. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, anyway. I lost my place. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, he's like really supportive. He literally ruined my sound. This is like saboteur. Anyway, I've got this. So he is really supportive. We've had kind of a tough year because I have cancer. And I know, well, first of all, like everybody else, pretty much. No, but I know that sounds bad, and it is, because cancer is scary, but I've learned going through this process that I really like when people feel bad for me. Like, my friends and family have all kind of morphed into the people I've always wanted them to be. And I feel like that I've always deserved, honestly. Like, they're just like all maids and butlers. Really amazing. Honestly worth it. For example, the other day I was watching TV with he who we shall not name. And I wanted to watch something on Showtime, and I don't have Showtime because I'm not freaking Jeff Bezos. Okay? So I text my friend group, and I'm like, hey, does anyone have a Showtime password I can use? P.S. I have cancer. And then one just appeared, and it was awesome, like, perks, cancer wins. Another cool thing, like, when I was first diagnosed a few months ago, I had to spend a few nights at the hospital, and when I kind of just leaned into that experience, I realized the hospital was sort of just like one of those expensive resorts where you get really high and think about life. And my oncologist is like the shaman, except I have way more options of drugs to choose from. And this resort has a spa because one of the days I was there, one of the nurses offered to give me a sponge bath. And I said, girl, we've reached our out-of-pocket max for the year. Go crazy. I was sick. And then another one gave me a suppository, and I said, this place is crazy. Got wild in here. I don't know about this. That was cool too, gotta stay regular. Anyway. I don't have notes written on my hand, anyway. So the reason I got cancer is because I have this gene that I got from my mom. It's called BRCA2, BRCA2. You may have heard of it. Angelina Jolie has it. She's like our spokeswoman. It's like an elite club. You wish. But I got it from my mom. She has it. And my sister, she didn't get it. Same parents, but only two kids. And I got it. She didn't get it. So I've had cancer twice, and she's had maybe a sprained ankle, maybe one. She can confirm, yeah. No, in fact, she's had a really amazing life. She was a soccer star in high school, got a full ride for soccer to college. She's had an amazing career. Married a great guy, beautiful house, works out twice a day, stunningly gorgeous. I just feel so bad for her because nobody likes someone like that. It's not fair that God blessed me with all this character. And none for her. So, I was sitting at home one day, eating an edible arrangement that someone sent me. Just feeling bad for the poor girl. And thinking about how I can help her. And then I realized, I have a small one-bedroom apartment, and in my trunk of my car, I'm always, carrying around shit that I need to take to Goodwill, just crap. And we hang out a lot, so I go over to her house a lot, and so I started, every time I go over there, just sneaking into her garage and putting just stuff I need to take to Goodwill. This is news to her. So, guess I can't do it anymore, but anyway. Got a lot of stuff over there, and will this help her build character? I don't know. But can't prove that it won't. So I think it's good. What else? Oh. So the other day I was hanging out with a girlfriend, and I have to take a handful of medication every morning and night for the rest of forever. And I was hanging out with this girlfriend, and she was like, I have a headache. And I was like, oh, do you want some Advil? And she was like, no, I don't like to put anything in my body that's not organic. And then I felt this warm tingle of opportunity. And I was like, oh, you don't? Wow, that must be so hard for you. Some of us don't have that option, in case you forgot. And then she felt really bad. Which made me feel really good. I had a doctor appointment the other day, because I have them all the time, and my oncologist and I have gotten pretty close. And she was just telling me about her life, and she was telling me how she's Chinese and her husband's Caucasian. And I was like, wow, that's so fancy, Caucasian. I was like, mine's just a white frat bro. Where'd you get that? They must have met on Raya or something. I don't know, Match.com. Another really cool thing that, it's cool for me that you guys don't get, is that my chemotherapy medication sponsors the show Survivor. Freaking lit. It's literally lit. And as a big Survivor fan, I just think that's really cool that they're like an ally, Another really big plus, this is even a really huge plus tonight, especially because my boyfriend's obviously trash. He has always wanted kids, and I've always just kind of gone along with it, even though I don't, because he's pretty hot. We won't tell him. He's pretty hot. And now, since my diagnosis, I can't have them, and so, like, joke's on him. And he can't leave me because that would be, like, so rude. Like, you can't leave someone with cancer, that's actually illegal. So now we're together forever, except for I'm gonna break up with him after this. No, but you know, after all that, if you still feel bad for me, because cancer's scary, I get it, except for that's what I want. I want you to feel bad for me, because that's how I control your mind. And pity equals gifts. And gifts are my love language. I may be bald one day, but I'll be bald with a Birkin bag, goddammit. And you'll all just be basic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hannah Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Hannah. Wow. Hannah Miller. Wow. You guys having fun? It's a free show, too. Give it up for everybody. Come on. You know, if you want to sign up for a class, again, it's portlandcomedy.com, and we're running a special in spring. It's 90% off if you have Down syndrome. So we so love those people. One more time for Hannah. So good. You know, Hannah was on our showcase on St. Patrick's Day, opened the show and killed. And she was wearing a beautiful long dress, and she walked up, and I said, if I wore that dress in Tennessee, it'd be a felony. And so my friend Kent, who was in the audience, called me the next day and said, if you wore that dress anywhere, it'd be a felony. Everyone's a comic. Okay. Jeff, I was just kidding about the Down syndrome, really. So sensitive. All right. Come to the stage. I love her I love all my students. Therese is terrific, and she's gonna do a public service in addition to being hysterically funny tonight. Please welcome Therese Lang, ladies and gentlemen. Therese Lang.
Good evening. It is evening. The lights are so bright up here. This is my first showcase, even though I should have been in this second class. So I have a serious story to tell you tonight. It's not that funny, but you'll probably laugh. But I am a survivor. I am a survivor of a broken vagina. It's also called vaginal atrophy, and this is a really serious thing. Some of you look a little perplexed. If you don't know what that is, according to my gynecologist, it's when your vagina seals up because you haven't had sex for a really long time. It's usually found in menopausal women like me. And there's not too many things you can do to fix it other than, well, we'll get there. How did I find out I had a broken vagina? It was interesting. I started dating a guy. I hadn't dated for a while. I started dating a guy who was really cute. He checked all the boxes. He was handsome, he was rich, he was successful, funny, educated. Most importantly, he wasn't part of the MAGA crowd, so I was really excited about that. We started dating, and came time pretty soon to consummate the relationship. And so he invited me out to his house, which was out in the country. And I go out there intending to have a lovely night of romance, seduction. It was going to be great. It turned out to be kind of a night of horror. So I get out there, we have dinner, and we're canoodling on the couch, and it's beginning to be time to take it upstairs. So we go upstairs, and we continue the foreplay. And at this point, he is about to get on top of me and park his sports car in my garage. And as he's doing this, I all of a sudden, I stopped and I looked at him, and all I could tell you is that I felt like what I thought was a hot red poker going up my vagina. And his head was right here at this point. And I screamed in his ear and pushed him off me so fast, "Get off of me! Get off of me! Get the fuck off of me, my God!" And I've never seen anybody move like that in my life. It was beautiful, like an Olympian. He jumped off me and held his dick and just sprung into air and landed in the far corner of the room, holding his wiener, going, "What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I looked at him and I said, "You broke my vagina! You broke my vagina!" And he said, "How? How can I do that?" And then he looked at me and said, "I'm not that big." I said, "I know, I've been closed for a while." It took a little bit before we all calmed down. And I told him I was not going to let him touch me, and he said, "For how long?" I said, "Forever." So I took the blanket, the only blanket, because he was a bachelor, went down on the couch, and spent the rest of the evening shaking and in a lot of pain. And all I kept thinking about was, what if they find my body, naked body out here in the country? What if they charge him with murder? Oh my God, how are they going to explain my naked body to my Catholic mother that's found out here in the country with a guy she doesn't even know about? So, morning couldn't come fast enough. And I hopped in my car and I made a beeline back to the city and called my gynecologist and made an appointment. So I'm at the office with her and she's examining me, and the next thing I know is she is scolding me. And she is going on and on about, "Why didn't you use more lube? Why didn't you know about vaginal atrophy?" I'm looking at her and I'm thinking to myself, "You little 30-something bitch. You're young. You're probably fucking your boyfriend 2 times a day. Your vagina's young. Your vagina's flexible. Your vagina's moist. Your vagina is pink." So as she was down there, I had half the thought of, if I squeeze my thighs together real tight, I can squish her head. But something came over me in that moment, and I can only say it was the kind of rage that a woman in menopause usually feels. And I looked at her and I said, "How was I supposed to know about vaginal atrophy? Isn't that your job to tell me?" And she just looked at me and I said, "Or did you want to leave it to those advertisements in the back of the women's magazines? You know, the ones with the cute copywriting. If you have a little dryness or a little pain during intercourse." I said, "Pain during intercourse? I was being split open like a watermelon on the 4th of July!" She had no sympathy. She wrote me a prescription for hormonal cream and gave me a pamphlet for Kegel exercises, which was a whole other thing. You should have seen me trying those, honestly. But I walked out there and I thought I needed to come here tonight and tell you that I am a survivor of a broken vagina. But if I can save one woman from a horrible situation and that trauma, then I have done my job. Thank you.
Therese Lang, ladies and gentlemen. I asked my students to bare their soul, and they bear more than that. It's amazing. Therese Lang, ladies and gentlemen. Now, sir, did you understand all about the vaginal atrophy?
Now we do.
Is that your girlfriend with you?
This girl?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, now he puts his arm around it. See what you did, Therese? Yeah, I get it now. Sure.
She's buying him diapers and he's getting her lube.
What was that? I didn't quite hear it because I'm gay. So somehow didn't compute up here. I think I understand the pink part, though. One more time for Therese. Come on, that's a great acting bit. It really is. And a public service, and you'll have a discussion when you get home, sir. God, you're so young. How old are you two?
I'm 36.
33.
Did you notice a little pause there? 33? Yeah. You thought you were 34. Because after tonight, your life is flashing before your eyes, isn't it? Yeah, bad math is a sign of vaginal atrophy, I have to tell you. Okay, enough fun. Are you married, you guys? No. Yeah, good. That's getting more protesting as the night goes on. Yeah. You look so happy and young, like Barbie and Ken. I want you to pop your fucking heads off. No, I'm happily married, 25, and no vaginal problems in our marriage. All right. We have our final performer tonight. He's, how you doing, Pat? Good?
Great.
Yeah. Aiden was the best, wasn't he?
Oh, obviously, yes. He always has.
I want to meet a mother who says, fuck no, the others are much better. You're a good mom, you really are.
Yeah,
Mine would say, no, he's terrible, he's a Democrat. All right, now. Joining us on stage is a guy that we just love. I teach material plus your style, and Nick has a style all his own. I don't need to coach him. He is who he is. In fact, I can't stop him from being Nick. He's unbridled. He is who he is. He'll take you into his universe. Please welcome Nick Dudley, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Dudley!
Hey everybody. I wrote a 10-minute set on vaginal atrophy, and this has put me in like a really awkward position. Did I hear someone yell something about diapers? Maybe I can kind of go that direction. I just learned a new word, meat diaper. Y'all heard that one? It's like the little, like the nasty things that go under pieces of chicken. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You can buy 144 of them. It costs you for $10. And that's gross. I'm gonna move my notes up here, that way I don't forget, because all this vaginal atrophy talk. Oh God. Oh, my set list fell. What are we gonna do now? Alright, well, I'll just tell you about 23andMe. I just took a 23andMe test the other day. It says I'm bad at directions and have Neanderthal DNA. It's pretty right. I just get lost and yell crass stuff at the end of my jokes. I think that's the Neanderthal talking. So, I moved here from Little Rock, Arkansas. Just got flattened by a tornado 4 hours ago. It is true. My mom's fine. My mom's fine. This is true. She called me from a tornado. She literally called. I have pictures and video. I sent it to lots of people here. So yeah, she's fine. She's still in Arkansas, but she's fine. That's typically how this goes. Give it up for Carl, such a great MC. You know, he such a great comedian. He used to work at the Comedy Store with Mitzi Shore. That's totally Polly's mom. And I know I love Encino Man, so I can only imagine how much Carl likes Encino Man. And Biodome too. He said if you take the next class, you actually get to watch Biodome afterwards. He said you don't even have to do any work that class. You can just only watch Biodome. I forgot to start my stopwatch. I told you I'd only do 10 minutes. Hang on, let me start again.
Trying to keep it under 40.
Okay, what are we at? All right, I'm only at 4 seconds, so I'm great to go. So, well, my mind's in Little Rock, so I guess my stories are going to be in Little Rock tonight. So with that, I guess I'll tell you about this awesome time that I went and ate with my grandma and took her on a walk around the town. So, I went over there to eat some cream of wheat, Grandma. As you do, as one does in Arkansas. So I get over there, and she's got her Shih Tzu, her lapdog, Putty. It's short for Puddingtane. So it's sitting in her lap, and she's sitting there eating cream of wheat, and she passes me a bowl of cream of wheat, and she picks up her little gravy boat full of milk, and she says, "Nicholas, do you take milk with your cream of wheat?" No. Anyway, she picks up this gravy boat, and she's just like, "Nicholas, I've never heard of such a thing." She douses my cream of wheat in milk. Gross. So I just lapped it up, and we went out on our walk. Special lady. So I heard a yell for Arkansas. Did someone? You been to the Big Dam Bridge?
I'm from Fayetteville, Arkansas.
You been to the Big Dam Bridge then?
Yes.
All right, good.
I have.
Good. It's in Little Rock. It's still there. Bridge is still there. Just check. Bridge is doing great. I mean, it's still in Arkansas, but it's functional. It still goes over a river. I'm at 2 minutes. He's always like, wrap these stories up, Nick. And I'm like, but the journey, it's not the destination, it's the journey. So I took Grandma over this bridge. We're going over the bridge, and this crazy woman's coming from the other direction with her Labradoodle. And it buries its head in my grandma's crotch. And, my grandma, she's kind of confused, early signs of dementia and stuff. And she's like, oh, he smells my putty. He smells my putty. And I'm horrified. Like this whole scene's playing out, and I'm just like, that's her dog's name. That's her dog's name. Woo. Whoa. Y'all, Grandma's got a rank ass pussy. Woo. Carl made me do my whole set in the alleyway last week. He said people were leaving when I was telling my jokes. I got the mic now, Carl. I'm up here. Me and this Neanderthal DNA, we're going all in. It's 4 minutes. Plus that other time. All right, here's where I admit I have kids. All right. My wife doesn't have vaginal atrophy. So she's turning them out. We got two of them. One's in high school, and one's in middle school. I think you'll know what that means. It's a lot of laundry. Someone's got to wash all those cum socks. Got it. That's good. That's good. You better run them through twice. I tell you what, if you don't, you pull that shirt out and throw it on. It looks like you're throwing on a cum sock ghillie suit. Look like a fool in the laundromat with a cum sock stuck to your forehead. How does that even happen? I don't know. You know, what am I out for real? I'm like at 5.5 minutes. This is going good.
You're doing good.
All right. I got to check. He gets worried when I walk to that part of the stage, but I won't tell you about that. I won't get into that. It took like 30 minutes last time to get out of. I had to use that coffee cup too to get out of it. But I'll tell you about these. You know, I keep hearing people talking about the dating apps, and I get so jealous. What am I supposed to do? I got to sit around all married up. Everyone else gets to have all the fun. I don't get to have any fun. But I have an active imagination. I have Facebook. All right. I kind of like stalked this old Facebook friend. I was going through. I was like, he's a great guy. We make such a great couple. And I'm looking through his posts, and they're looking cool. All of his vacation stuff. And then I saw this one picture, and followed by a couple more, where he was at a rally. And I know what you are thinking about rallies. Not the frog place. He went to a Save the Foreskin rally. It took lots of pictures. Lots of pictures. So here, this is where it fucked up my imagination. Fucked up big time. I threw away all the foreskin. Threw it all away. I had 2 kids. Got them both circumcised, and I just tossed those foreskins away. Just like some old leather toe rings. Just threw them in the trash. Well, shit, 8 minutes. All right. I'll admit, I don't have much more. I don't have much more because I took out my 30-minute bit to call this. But I promised Idris that I would do a metal song for him. So I wrote a metal song. Let me do some vocal warm-ups real quick. Mama made me mash my M&Ms. I've never sang on stage. This is fun. Mama made me mash my M&Ms. So after the so I wrote this song for my mother in the heat of the moment today. She didn't have power yet. I was gonna say she might be watching. I was gonna give her a shout out on YouTube, but she doesn't have power right now. I talked to her right before I came in. But Mom, if you ever see this recording, I wrote this metal song for you. It's about the moment. It's called Tornado Alley. All right, y'all ready for this? Tornado Alley! And I'll fuck you up. That's all I got.
Nick Dudley, ladies and gentlemen. In 10 minutes, he did that in 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 10 minutes and 11 seconds. Keep it up for Nick Dudley, ladies and gentlemen. I want to bring all our performers up on stage for a final bow. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring them up on stage, and I want you to give them a round of applause as a group. I just think they're tremendous. Maytal Markman, ladies and gentlemen, Maytal Markman. Idris Wahed, Na Wen, Jeff Bell, the pride of Down syndrome, and Lindsley, ladies and gentlemen, Aiden Giskin, Hannah Miller, and not her boyfriend, Therese Lang, ladies and gentlemen, with her cured vagina, and Nick Dudley, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for my students. We're going to do this extremely quickly because I know it's been a couple hours here and you've been a wonderful audience, but I'm going to hand the microphone over. I'll start with Ann. If any of you have questions for the students about the class, we'll just take a few questions. Ask, they'll pass the mic, I'll get out of the way if you want to ask about their experience and how wonderful the teacher was, okay? Hello. Anybody with questions?
Nope. All right.
Seriously?
Okay. You guys also tell more suicide jokes?
What now?
I didn't hear you.
I didn't hear, thank for God. I have no idea. My hearing is very bad. I want to say that everyone has done just a magnificent job. We have another showcase on Sunday night at 7:30 as well. Doors open at 7. It is free. We have other students here, my friend Grace and Kim and Alice and probably more who have taken the class. It's a wonderful experience for their teacher as well as for them. We have a very supportive group session, 8 weeks. We really kind of end up like a writer's room where comics do their material and other of my comics sit around and we critique and we grow together. And it's really positive, and the energy tonight that you saw making you laugh is that positivity in action. Give it up for my students. And if you would like to take the course and be as funny as these students up here, it's portlandcomedy.com. Again, thank you for coming on a rainy night in Portland. Our pleasure. We're always here at Comedy Sports. Thank you. Good night. Thank you.
I'm glad you did. It was directed at somebody. I don't know. Yeah, it was like that was like kind of. It was like my brain was stuck. Good.